Welcome to the NBA Now and Then 50, 40, 90 interview series.
Hey, what's good, everybody? I am Uriah here with Lucas, ready to give you another 50, 40, 90 experience where we bring you the shakers and movers in all fields relative to hoops. If you want to experience a variety of viewpoints of NBA hoops through exclusive interviews, you're in the right place. So I'm here with Lucas Johnson, my co-host. What's up, man?
Yo. It's my birthday, man. I figured why not celebrate a birthday with another great podcast?
You messed it up. I was going to ask you how you were doing, and then I was going to interrupt you and say, I know how you're doing. You're feeling old.
I am. My arthritis in my knee really acted up today. It's not even like, no. It was not. Did you really just
mention arthritis and you're barely
Yes, at
31?
the tender age of 32, I have pre-arthritis in my right knee, so it was not fun to deal with today.
Wait until you get to 47, buddy.
I'm thinking I'm going to need a knee replacement at that point.
Well, let's get right to it, man. We got a special guest here on the 50, 40, 90 show. We have the one, the only, Zach Ciavolella, who is the Philadelphia 76ers beat reporter for Philadelphia Sports Network and Metro Philly. What's going on, Zach?
Happy to be here. Honored to be here for Lucas's birthday episode, obviously, but just grateful to link back up with you guys and talk a little hoops, talk a little Sixers basketball. Just excited.
Absolutely, and yeah, for those that don't know, when me and Uriah were doing the Sixer Sense podcast, Zach was a guest on that podcast as well. So that's really exciting to see you again, Zach. Good talking with you for sure. I'm excited.
I was singing Zach his praises. We had a conversation yesterday on the phone, and the way he covers the team, how he writes his articles, how he edits pretty much everybody's content coming out, going through PSN. Zach, your star is ascending, man, and we are very happy and privileged to have you on.
I'm really honored by that, man. I'm floored by it. Like, listen, it may sound kind of corny to hear. I'm just happy to be here, man. To be at the position where I'm talking about Sixers every day and talking to Sixers every other day.
I'm jealous
happy
of
to
that.
Be here.
I'm jealous
just
of
happy
that.
to be here, man.
Yeah,
I'm grateful for everything.
You earn your stripes. You paid your dues with bottled pennies, and now you are the star. Like, we're asking you about what's going on with you. So,
hey, your words. I hope to get there someday. I'm just trying to be like some of these great guys on the beat that I respect so very much. So I'm just hoping to learn.
Well, you are definitely on the path, and let's go back to the beginning. You're like a Philly guy, South Jersey guy, but if we go back to, let's say, your childhood, what made you fall in love with hoops?
Yeah, I fell in love with the game my freshman year of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had mostly played, a little baseball, a little soccer until that point. I wasn't overly passionate about sports as a whole. I would watch Eagles games with my dad, but, I watched Iverson through the playoffs, things like that. But it just wasn't a fixture in my life. But, one day just something drew me to a copy that I saw of NBA 2K10. I saw it in a Target. It wasn't even you just happened to go to a random Target. There was a copy of NBA 2K10, and something, as if it was destiny itself, pulled me to that game. And I bought it, and I started playing it, and it really introduced me to the NBA. And it was the first NBA game I had played since I had played one on Super Nintendo. I picked the Sixers as my franchise because it felt like the right thing to do.
Oh yeah,
as a born in Philly, raised in South Jersey guy. And it was the year the team drafted Drew Holiday. So, I learned a lot about Drew that year, and he's been my favorite player ever since in the league. The way that he's approached the game, the way that he's played the game, the way that he's really just handled his life off the field. I have nothing but respect for Drew, and has always been one of my favorite players. And, really at the same time, so I was a kid, I was homeschooled for most of my education. That year, my freshman year in high school, I actually went to a private school, right? And so it was a bit of an adjustment. I was always kind of a social kid for a homeschooler, if that makes any sense. But at the same time, you're getting introduced to a new environment. So, and for me, it was a little difficult too, because I had a lot of classes with sophomores and juniors, and I'm a freshman. So it's like you have that age thing. But One day, one of the sophomore kids, he asked me if I was interested in trying out for the JV team. And, after a little convincing, I was like, why not? Like, let's give it a go. Let's at least see if I'm interested after I go to the tryout or whatever. And honestly, since the first scrimmage, it was actually, and I knew I loved the game, feeling that camaraderie on the court, having that opportunity to, do what I could to lift up other people's games. I was never at any point in my high school basketball career, if you could call it a career, a star or anything like that. But I always did what I could to support my teammates. I learned how to play tough. I learned how to rebound, defend, set hard screens, and my game grew. Played through JV, played through varsity. My dad supported me in that, and knowing what I was trying to accomplish on the court, sat me down and made me watch Daryl Dawkins film as much as possible.
Chocolate Thunder. Chocolate Thunder.
and yeah, exactly. And so, I loved high school ball. It's I'll never forget it. It was one of the most important times in my life, I feel like, and it really affected my love of the game.
Yeah, just the few things to chime in on that. First off, you're bringing me back down nostalgia lane because I remember that 2K game. It was Kobe Bryant's first cover. And it was the first 2K game that I got from my PS2 at the time. That was a fun time. I think I was a sophomore, so I might be a little bit older than you, actually. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Sounds about that same range, yeah.
Yeah. And then dad's making you watch clips. Don't I know it? My dad made me watch Pete Maravich clips and made me do the Pete Maravich drills, which I could never do that little dribble thing that he did between his legs, though. Because
I don't think a lot of people could. That was
I couldn't dunk like Chocolate Thunder, so you were fine.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I totally get the love of the game. That's an awesome story, man. So my follow-up question to you is, can you tell us about your journey in sports journalism and and how you became the editor of the Philly Sports Network?
Yeah, so it's really a non-traditional path. I went into college knowing that I wanted to be a sports journalist. I was really inspired by the great Ray Didinger, just an absolutely incredible sports writer. Just the way that he presented himself, always worked in facts. He was never afraid to show his love for the game, and I felt that was truly unique. Not only to work exclusively in facts, which, as the years have gone by, has become more and more of a rarity in media in general, not just sports journalism.
Yeah.
But so I've always appreciated that about him. But the willingness to show that passion, that love for the game, is another thing that I think has kind of dwindled in years.
Yeah.
And I always knew that I didn't want to let that passion leave the way that I represented the game. I always wanted to reflect Ray as best I could and continue to work in facts, but also be able to show that love and passion for the game as much as I could. So I wanted to leave kind of a similar impression, regardless of whether or not I reached any heights close to him, which I'm sure I never will. He's in my opinion, like the greatest sports writer that the Northeast has ever seen. So it's just something where I wanted to more emulate the idea. And so when I was going into college, I began my freshman year on that path. I was honestly, I was often discouraged to kind of go that way because it is so hard to make it in this industry. It is so hard to get one of these positions, to succeed in one of these positions.
Yeah.
It's difficult. So I was initially discouraged. I let that discouragement get to me. I ended up changing my major. I went into business administration. I was a business administration major. And I parlayed that into several jobs here and there, went into banking, and I was making a living. I've known my wife since I was in high school, since even before then, honestly. And so, I did what I could so that I could work and, we could get married irrationally young and just start enjoying our lives, and kind of put my career wants and dreams on the back burner until one day I was reading an article on Bleacher Report. It was actually from Philly Sports Network. It was a Liam Jenkins piece on the Eagles. And at the very bottom of the article, he was looking for writers. Talked about it was a pro bono position, a non-paid position. And so I connected with him. We instantly connected. We both fell in love with sports through video games. And we had gone through the process. I was all set to start working for him. and I found out that I was going to be losing my job. And
Wow.
so I had to tell him. I can't. I have a wife at home. I can't do this right now, unfortunately. And he said, listen, I get it. That's perfectly fine. If that ever changes, just let me know. And it was probably about 6 to 8 months later. I had worked 3 jobs in between that time. That's how crazy this era of my life was. But about 6 to 8 months later, things were a little calmer. And my wife suggests to me that, you should give Liam a call again, because she, to her credit, has always supported me doing this. And so she pushed me to get back in touch with Liam. I was brought in. I started working for Philly Sports Network. I was the only writer on the Sixers team at the time. And we built the team slowly but surely. And, kind of as it progressed, I went from unpaid to contractor. We got bought out by Schnepp's Media, and then things started getting featured in Metro Philly, and then this year I started working for Metro full time as beat reporter and digital editor for them. And along the way, 2 years ago, this is now the 3rd year that I'm entering into it. We were blessed with the opportunity to have full credentials with the Philadelphia 76ers, and so I've been covering them for the past 2 years. This is now year 3, and just kind of building whatever relationships I could, with players, people in the organization, other writers that I could since then. And, now it's crazy to say, but it's just what I do every day. And that's it's never lost on me.
I've known Zach for several years now, and this is a lot of new stuff that I'm hearing, falling in love with hoops through the video game and taking Lucas back down memory lane with that experience. I didn't know about your wife, how supportive she is, and she kind of said, all right, now's the time. Now you're ready. And that's inspiring. And shout out to Liam Jenkins, who
for sure,
just through sheer will and passion for the Eagles, created this mammoth of a media frenzy that's really spreading. And Zach, you're doing a wonderful job with that. I've told you that many times. So I want to ask you, with PSN, which has literally gotten into some pretty important doors when it comes to the 76ers, it'd be easy to assume that your favorite thing is talking to the players or being in the building. But my question to you is, what do you enjoy the most? Give us a few examples of what you love doing for PSN.
Yeah, I mean, so if we're going with a few examples, obviously I love the career avenues it's opened up for me. I love talking to NBA players. I love, the ability to go to games for free. That's all great. That's not what I really love about Philly Sports Network, though. What I truly love, and you hear this from everyone, but I swear to you, it is different at this place. It's the people. That is what is truly unique about Philly Sports Network. And I think back over the years, I just crossed, I believe my timeline is correct, I believe 5 years with Philly Sports Network, which is kind of crazy to say. I spent half a decade with them.
There you go, man.
It's insane to think about. But I think about the people who I've worked with, the friends that I've made, the people who are still there, the people who are not there any longer, but I still have good relationships with. And I think a lot about really just the different times that we went through. Going through the COVID pandemic together, for instance, was something that was truly special and truly unique, where it was such an uncertain time, right? So no matter how, the degree to which you were personally directly affected by it, it was such an uncertain time. And to have that kind of, we had happy hours every single week. And, we spent time, we would joke around together. We would play games together. We would talk sports because we're all sports fans, but it just was an experience that was unlike anything else. And, we've just built these incredible relationships to the point where, we go meet up for drinks even now. We've met up at the shore, run into each other at the Wawa. We've gone to each other's weddings. It's just you hear from other companies. And I say this every time that I talk to a prospective hire, right? You hear from so many other companies, oh, this place is like a family. This place is like a family. It's not like a family. It's a corporation. It's a job. You're hired to be there. I hate to tell you, at most places, you're a number, right? Philly Sports Network, it's legitimately not the case. And that starts with Liam. It starts with the way that he's built that company from the ground up and the way that he's instilled his own heart into that company. And it's just, these people truly are my brothers and sisters. These people are people who, like, I'm going to another PSN wedding next year. There's a PSN baby shower later this month. You know, there's all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Like, we legitimately, I have some of the best friends that I have in my life at this point through this company. And that is something that I feel is completely different compared to any other. And I've worked for other, obviously plenty of other companies, but I've worked for other sports sites as well. And I can definitively say that this is what is truly unique about Philly Sports Network that you're not going to get anywhere else. And it is reflected in the quality of the content because that passion shines through. And that's one of the reasons why I'm always going to be proud to write for Philly Sports Network.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, man. No, I know that feeling of brotherhood that you build with your co-workers. I would like to think that me and Uriah, because me and Uriah, we started working. Yes, sir. Yes.
Are we like brothers now?
Yeah, man. I mean,
you have a lot of history. You have a lot.
We started. We started working together 2019. Actually, was it 2020?
No, it's 2020. It's doing
2020, right before the pandemic. And you know what, Uriah's. Not to get personal, but I went through some really rough times in 2020, 2021, even a little bit in 2022, and Uriah and not just Uriah, there's other guys too, but Uriah's on the podcast, so I'm going to give him his flowers.
I'm right here.
And Uriah's doing a great job of building that same type of brotherhood that you're talking about with Philly Sports Network, with NBA Now and Then. Absolutely. I think Uriah's doing a great job with that. Hopefully maybe Uriah's on one of your podcasts in 5 years saying the same thing.
Zach's going to be on ESPN in 5 years. What are you talking about?
That's true. That's true.
Listen, I will say this right now and clip this and call me out if I'm ever wrong. Listen, I am I'm a Philly area guy. I won't claim to be a Philly guy. I know that's annoying to people, to true Philly guys, but I'm a Philly area guy. I'm not leaving the city. I'm going to talk. If it's not Sixers ball, it's going to be Eagles ball. It's going to be Phillies ball. It's going to be Flyers puck. I'm going to talk that till the day that I die because I'm not leaving this area. So
until the right number of zeros follow.
I mean, if you're gonna time out, if you're gonna hold me up like that, we'll see. But it's just listen. I love this area. I love the city. I've rekindled that love since I've started this new position where I'm now in and out of the city. So much more. I was in and out a lot in college, spending a lot of time. I had a lot of friends that went to Temple, lived in the city. We spent a lot of time in Fishtown. And I kind of got away from that as I grew out of college, started working every night. And then I started working 60-hour weeks, between the bank and between, Philly Sports Network. And I really kind of lost that ability to enjoy the city. And so now that I have that new tie-in back where my job is Philadelphia, it's such a special city. It's so much better than any other city out there. I don't care what you have to say. It's just it's a truly special place. Yeah. And I'm not leaving. You can't kick me out.
Well, you talk about all the great experiences that you've had in this, the city of Philly, but talk about your experiences so far while covering the Sixers, because that's your team. So, and for those that are watching the video here, he has at least 2-3 Sixers memorabilia in the background here. I'm seeing a Maxey jersey, a Joel picture. What else do we got back there?
Yeah, so what I have back here, over my right shoulder, can I do this right in a mirror camera? Perfect. Over my right shoulder, we have a Nerlens Noel jersey, and so it autographed Nerlens Noel jersey, let me say. I don't know if you can see that there, but let me kind of take you down the trip, right? So I think that as I've kind of grown more and more in my role as a beat reporter, there's a little bit of less of that kind of pure fandom in me, which I think has been good to help me critique the game honestly. However, I'd never want to forget my past, right? And so I like to keep memorabilia of what has helped me fall in love with the game and help me get to where I am, right? So behind me, again, we have the Nerlens Noel jersey, autographed by Nerlens, signed it right on my back, right?
Wow.
So it was an incredible day. I'll never forget it. It was my birthday, actually, and my father tried to get my name on the screen, for halftime, and they said, you kind of missed the cutoff. We can't do that. but why don't we get you in, to the autograph alley before the game? And my dad's like, that's even better. So this was, I believe it was Joel Embiid's rookie year, so he was obviously not playing. But Nerlens signed the jersey that I had on my back. Joel came out, signed my hat, and then immediately, before I could get the hat back from Joel, Jakar Sampson grabs the hat and signs the hat as well.
Nice.
So I have a hat that is signed by Joel Embiid and Jakar Sampson, and just as a high school kid, that was something that I couldn't help but laugh at. You just gotta laugh at that kind of situation.
Jakar was one of the few that actually made it past the process for a little bit.
Man, I love Jakar. Don't get it twisted. I love Jakar. I loved watching him play. It's so funny to think about that you have the franchise player, and then Jakar Sampson takes the hat because he's like, of course you want Jakar Sampson to sign this hat, right?
My name matters too.
I still have the hat, man. It's, I'm not getting rid of it,
Yeah.
And so
you got a little case now, or
no, you know what? I'm getting too many signed things. At least my wife says so. I running out of cases, So I have things that I got the Drew Holiday jersey autographed. Of course, I got that. That'll probably work its way in there at first. But the reason I have the Noel is that it really signals the beginning of the process in my mind, right?
Yeah.
And really, if you think about it, Drew Holiday would potentially do that, and you could put that jersey in there.
That was your favorite player.
I know.
The
but
irony in that.
It might just make me a little too sad to do that, if I'm being honest, to remember those times too much. But so you have Noel, and then, of course, you have Tyrese Maxey over my left. I swear that I got that before I, was working as a credentialed reporter. I did not ask Maxey to sign this. That is something that I've acquired elsewhere. Yeah. So I'm not that kind of guy who goes and tries to get autographs as a reporter. So I want to make that perfectly clear. But so I had that signaling of what I truly feel symbolizes the timeline of the process, right? So you have Nerlens Noel kicking it off, and then Tyrese Maxey. Like, there's no true fulfillment of the process because the Sixers obviously did not win a championship, have not won a championship yet. However, you have the time of the process, and then now the era of the franchise, as Joel Embiid calls him, is beginning. So that's that kind of timeline on the wall behind me. But if I can as well, just real quick since you asked, I would like to shout out the art as well, which honestly, and you guys I'm sure know her as well.
Dewani,
We had her fantastic Philly artist.
Yeah.
How can you not love? I can't tell you. I don't know where. I have so much art of Dewani's, honestly, because it's all incredible stuff. I have Eagles art, I have Phillies art, I have Sixers art. She does fantastic work, honestly. And anytime, there's something that is particularly inspiring. Joel Embiid's 70-point game, which I also kind of keep as a personal reminder. I missed that game. I was able to go to that game. And I did not go to that game because I had an incredibly frustrating day working for the bank. Had to stay late. Could not make it.
Blame it on the bank.
And I will, because it makes me appreciate so much where I am now. The fact that I no longer have to miss games because I'm working my 9 to 5 that keeps me till 6:30, that keeps me out of the city. And so, for me, obviously Joel recording 70 points is an amazing accomplishment. But for me, it's a constant reminder that I do not ever have to go back to those days where I'm missing out on these once-in-a-lifetime events. So I'm going to have that up there until I move, until this house comes down, whenever. But that's up there to stay.
So I have a question about the Sixers.
For sure.
All three of us have been following this team pretty much our whole lives, except for Lucas. Lucas is a Virginia guy, but
I
he
live
caught
in
on
Virginia.
a little bit.
I'm from Delaware.
But
see,
Lucas is a diehard Sixers fan. Just put it out there. But anyway, so the Sixers have dealt with a lot in the past decade. Zach, if you were to give us your top 3 most dramatic instances involving management, players, coaches, whatever, give us your top 3 dramatic Sixers moments.
There's a lot to choose from.
That is a lot.
Too many.
Frustrating amount to choose from. So what's funny is, we had initially discussed me coming on this pod and kind of loosely talked about things beforehand. And that idea was kind of planted. And then that very night, things completely changed, and a brand new answer
the same
was
night.
basically put into the equation.
Wow.
And that obviously was what just recently happened with Joel Embiid in the locker room. And, I say, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite now that this comes after me talking about the 70-point game. I was not there that night either. Thankfully, for good professional reasons, I was invited to the PA Sports Hall of Fame, and I was talking to Jay Wright and Ray Didinger and Andre Reed. So I'll count it as a win in my book, but I was not there either.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, because it is so unheard of in this day and age,
right.
I think that has to be included in this top 3 already. And it's young, it's fresh, it's the sexy choice. But listen, I'm not going to overthink it. That has to be in there. I honestly, we're only a couple days removed. Still a little bit in shock that it actually happened. I remember when I first heard the news, Justin Crosby, who writes for Philly Sports Network, our lead writer, fantastic writer. Be sure to check out Justin's work. He was covering the game for me, and I get that text message. I'm at my brother-in-law's watching the game. I get that text message, and I'm like, "What? Joel did what?" And I immediately call him, and I'm trying to get whatever information I can. And he's doing his thing, trying to get more information. And so then, the text or the tweet, I'll say, we'll just leave it at that, drops across Twitter, and everyone starts, starting to realize what happened. I start texting people behind the scenes, people who were actually in the locker room, trying to figure out what's going on. And it just an absolute crazy, chaotic night. And it's something that I do wish that I was there for. Yeah. But at the same time, I think I'm grateful that I was able to be an observer for that in that moment. Because I think that there's, or rather what I should say is maybe not grateful, but I think that there is just a unique perspective, whether you're in the midst or whether you're observing from the outside. And either way, I think it was interesting just to see transpire.
So is that number 3 or is that like number 1 and you're going backwards?
Well, if we're ranking, I mean, so I would call that 3. And the reason why I would, is that I would say it is not the most controversial thing that's happened in the Sixers time, which is, again, shocking to say. Yeah. But in addition to that, I think it's something that will eventually blow over. The NBA is obviously going through their investigation now. Maybe that relationship never gets repaired. Not like it was overly strong in the first place. But it's something where I don't think it's going to severely impact the team long term. Right. Yeah, and so when you get to number 2 and number 1, that's where that starts to change a little bit.
I'm excited for those two now.
Yeah. Well, lay it on us.
Number 2, the roller coaster that was the James Harden experience. And being occasionally in the locker room, always with the media during that. Listen, it was interesting. And what I want to maintain is that for as kind of unstable as that ride seemed, I do think that James Harden did a lot of good for the Sixers organization. I think that he was instrumental in the growth of Tyrese Maxey.
Absolutely.
And I think that he certainly had incredible highlights and impressive games with the Sixers. Yeah. That when we think about the Sixers between the end of the Iverson era and the beginning of Joel Embiid's true assertion, and we think about the level of play that Sixers fans had seen, almost every single James Harden game vastly outweighed that by an incredible amount. He's an all-time great that the Sixers fans had an opportunity to see, and there should be something positive felt about that. At the same time, I'll tell you this, it was interesting talking to the guy. It was interesting hearing him talk about his situation in Philly. And that summer, obviously we all know about his little trip over to China and those conversations, and it's just and not only everything with Harden, but obviously everything with Daryl and Joel during that time too. Just all that uncertainty, and it was it was so fresh after the Ben Simmons debacle. It's just which honestly, like the fallout of was still occurring, and not to mention Doc Rivers, which was its own experience as well. It was super interesting. So it's something that. I think it was definitely, just by the definition of the word dramatic, it was definitely dramatic. One of the most, just the highs were so high, the lows, which there were fairly more of than the highs, were very low. And it's the kind of situation where, oddly enough, you can truly say, after the parties have gone their separate ways, I think everybody's in a better spot. I think everybody's in a better situation. I mean, maybe not Doc, but everyone otherwise is in a better situation. Yeah. And I think that's how it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
But the number one thing, and I don't think that this should be surprising to anyone.
Can we guess?
Can we
Can
guess?
Absolutely. Please guess. I think
I'll go first. It's got to be.
There's so many.
Yeah, I know. It's got to be Ben Simmons holding out. That's just my pick. Lucas.
Not the Ben Simmons holdout, but the Ben Simmons saga in general. The whole entire meltdown, the Atlanta series, all of it. Though I do want to have an honorable mention, which was Burnergate. I think that was that
could be up there.
I'm going to be honest with you. Your honorable mention is actually it. It's the
whole
really
Colangelo
experience.
Burnergate.
The whole,
oh wow.
The whole Colangelo experience. Wow. And I think
that
if you just took Burnergate in a vacuum, I think you could say it's not on that same level. But when you look at start to finish, and that Colangelo experience in my mind, right, that starts with the ousting of Sam Hinkie.
Yeah.
You move into bringing in Jerry, bringing in Brian, because he was the best candidate according to Jerry.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Burnergate, which was just inexplicable to see that happen. Yeah. And everything in between, everything from having the opportunity and not trading Jahlil Okafor. Like there's so many different things that you can go through, and Burnergate I think is at the center of it. But just the entire Colangelo tenure is just, I mean, it was a crazy ride. It was something that you could not orchestrate.
Right.
You could not write it. As crazy as these scripts that we've seen for whether it's Winning Time, whether it's the Clippers show on FX, the Aaron Hernandez, documentary, like this is the kind of thing where if you saw this on television, you would say that's ridiculous even for television. What happened in Philadelphia with the Colangelos? So for me, that's at the top of the list.
See, I don't know if I could have those at the top of my. That's a good one though. I think, but that's because I'm thinking of the Jimmy Butler exodus as well.
Honestly, I think that is kind of a little more straightforward than other people feel like, and so the thing with Jimmy Butler, obviously, Tobias Harris over me, we all remember that.
Well, that wasn't the case. It was Ben Simmons
exactly.
over him. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And I think that's part of the reason why it's a little less dramatic is because you had this, and part of this goes into Colangelo's time. You had this split, decision in the front office was effectively split, maybe not 50-50, but between, well, if we do have to separate Joel and Ben, do we go with Ben or do we go with Joel? And there were so many people who favored Ben Simmons. And had they gotten their way, obviously things would not have worked out long-term in Philadelphia. I mean, hindsight's 50-50. You can say what you want.
I mean, but Ben right now
knowing
is
what we know now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Those people do not know.
It would not have done well.
Those people do not know ball.
5-5 this season.
And I honestly wish Ben well. There were so many decisions I think that he could have made better, but I think that he's had an extremely difficult time through this entire process. I do not wish that experience on him, on anyone. I hope that he gets healthy. I hope that he has a successful NBA career from now. But that being said, him moving on from Philadelphia was in the best interest of the Sixers. Yeah. It worked out well for Philadelphia, even though the James Harden drama is number 2 on my list. We got where we are now, and I know it hasn't really gone anywhere yet, but the Sixers are really in their best position since they had Jimmy Butler on the team.
Yeah.
And those picks that eventually turned into Tobias Harris. But they're in a finally solidly a good position moving forward.
Well, speaking of the Sixers in the future, let me ask you this. In your opinion, besides health, what do you think the Sixers need to do in order to win a championship in the near future?
Yeah, and listen, winning a championship is so hard.
Oh, yeah.
And you look at what goes into it. Obviously, you need talented players, and the Sixers have that. They have Tyrese Maxey. They have Joel Embiid. They have Paul George. They have quality role players, which is also key. Guys like Andre Drummond, Caleb Martin, Kyle Lowry, Kelly Oubre, obviously, and many more, honestly. It's a surprisingly deep roster that really it complements Joel Embiid well.
Right.
The one thing that a championship team needs, and you can make this argument, the initial Miami Heat big three is a great example of this because they lack this. But you need team chemistry. You absolutely have to have it.
Look at the
if
Celtics.
You look at exactly the Boston Celtics, they had it. Yeah. The Golden State Warriors obviously had it. You look at the Denver Nuggets. They had that. Joel Embiid had talked so much this summer, or heading into the summer at least, about continuity and the importance of it. And it's evident. You need chemistry. You need that ability built together on the team between these players on the roster. And so the Sixers have to figure out how are they going to accomplish that while Joel and Paul are going to miss a fair amount of games this season. Yeah. That's already known. If we're talking about back-to-back games, which Joel has said he's not going to play, that's already 15. Joel's already missed a handful of games. He's likely going to miss at least tonight's game as well. Well, he's definitely out for tonight, but he potentially could miss the rest of this road trip, though there is a little bit of an opportunity that he could play. We'll see. It's just how the Sixers like to keep things close to the vest. He at least traveled with the team, which is a good sign. But then again, with this investigation, we never know what that result's going to be. Is he going to be suspended for a game, 2 games, 3, whatever the case may be? Any opportunity that you have to establish that team chemistry on the court. And one thing that's encouraging in the midst of all of this discouragement that's happening in that regard is that talking to Paul George after practice on Friday, one of the things that he said is that during this rehab process for both him and Joel, and when I say rehab, we should call it injury/conditioning management, right? One thing that's been a positive for the two of them is that they've been able to go through this process together, right? So that's not the same thing as establishing on-court chemistry in a live 5-on-5 NBA environment. I fully understand that. However, it is better than the alternative, which is being completely separate from one another. Right? So to have that small, tiny bit of a head start, I think is important. But from here on out, the Sixers, Nick Nurse, and the Sixers organization have to maximize that opportunity to build that chemistry between Joel, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey. Yeah. The role players should be able to fall in as they will. Caleb Martin is used to it. Kelly Oubre's best role is suited as such. But the biggest thing is making sure that Tyrese, Paul, and Joel know how to play together. And this year, I will be flat honest, will be incredibly difficult to win the championship. Next year, it will be that much easier. So I'm not saying give up on this year. Right. Do everything you can this year. Of course. But make sure you're building that chemistry. If for nothing else, that it improves your chances every time you get that opportunity.
And to be clear, you're alluding to the fact that the Celtics will not be able to keep their core together after this season, correct?
Well, I mean, listen, we can talk about their core, and we can talk about who exactly that is. That list could be pretty long to some people, right?
You get what I'm saying. They're not going to be able to keep their team together as is.
No, they won't, because you just can't. You can't in the league today, especially under this new CBA that CJ McCollum somehow allowed. Like, you just can't keep a team together like that. And even if you can, and the Nuggets are a great example of that, right? They're already Michael Porter Jr., shockingly, which, I mean, somebody get a PR guy next to him at all times, just said that the Nuggets are potentially going to have to, make some major changes on the roster moving forward, just with the way that they've performed this season. Yeah. So you see that with the Nuggets. You're going to see that with the Celtics. That is partly a factor. The Celtics are, at this point in time, immensely better than any other team in the NBA. So yes, that is a factor for this year. Next year, if they move on from player X, player Y, whatever the case may be, certainly that will help as well.
But you would like Drew Holiday back in Philly, huh? To end his career.
I've been asking for that. I've written so many Drew Holiday articles, man, over the years. I wrote an entire theoretical case of why they never had to trade Drew Holiday, and they could still have had the process. They could have still undergone the entire process.
Uriah did the same thing.
Don't get me started on the process. Let's get back on Zach.
My math is not perfect, but they did not need to trade Drew. I can tell you that right now.
I am actually on the same page. I'm on the same page. Real quick, before we do the NBA draft time machine, we want to get your all-time Sixers starting 5 lineup. Go.
Can I? All right. I have to ask a question.
What do you need, a 6-man? What do you need?
No. Well, I mean, there's a lot of great players, so I wouldn't hate that. But Now, am I building this team based on the best to ever play, or am I building a team to win?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I look at you. You're that deep thinking, man. Peeling back layers.
It's a completely different answer. If you're
let's
playing
go
with
the team. Let's go with the team to win.
Ooh,
right.
So that's
team to win
championships.
Okay.
There's no way that you can have a Sixers team that does not have Allen Iverson on it. There's just no way, right? So you have to start. Whether he's technically your point guard, in this case, he's technically not, but he's got to be one of your guards on the team. I don't think there's a way that you can give up that talent.
Are they practicing or not practicing? That's a very important question.
Listen,
because
man, we're in the load management era. Who cares about practice? I'm just trying to play games, all right?
Right.
So here's going to be by far my most controversial pick, and I'm just going to get to it right now because I'm going effectively in order of the lineup here. Andre Iguodala.
Ooh.
Now, I will say I am not putting him on the line, and whatever that famous quote was about,
him and Max Kellerman, yeah,
I'm not Max Kellerman over here. I'm not putting him on the line with everything on the line. But what I will say is, it's so rare that you have a player who can defend at the level that Iguodala could, had the athleticism that he had, could facilitate the way that he did. Just such an important glue player. Yeah. And we've seen these star-filled teams before. If you don't have complementary players, you're just not going to make it, no matter how much talent you have, right? So to have an opportunity like a guy like Andre Iguodala, who in his own right is, I would say, at least a top 15 player in Sixers history.
Okay.
I think if you're building a lineup to win, he's a fantastic player to have. And you can say Billy Cunningham. I think that's a great answer as well. But for me, that's Andre Iguodala.
So that's your backcourt.
That's my backcourt.
That's your backcourt.
Next to him, you got to have Dr. J, because there's never been.
Right.
Never been. And I love Paul George. I've always wanted Paul George on the Sixers, honestly. He's been one of my favorite players in the league for a long time.
Yeah.
He does not have the opportunity, just with how many years in the league that he has left, to ever compete with Dr. J for that title.
Right.
That's not a knock on Paul George. That's just me acknowledging that, if anyone wants to go and try and say Paul George, you can't, because Dr. J is the quintessential greatest small forward to ever play for the Sixers. And it seems the organization is hell-bent on that being the case forever, considering that they don't invest in that at a young enough age. But
your power
Dr.
forward,
J, absolutely.
Your power forward better have a 3 and a 4 in his jersey. That's all I gotta say.
Ooh, I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
You're very close. You're very close.
I knew it.
Are you putting Tobias Harris in there?
He's got a 1 and a 2 because we're cheating and we're putting Joel Embiid at the 4.
Oh,
and we're going Twin Towers.
Okay, I'm down for it.
Joel can stretch the floor. We need that rebounding. Okay. We're cheating a little bit here, and we're putting Joel. And listen, Charles Barkley. Let me just say this: Charles Barkley is the greatest power forward to play for the Philadelphia 76ers, by and large. Like that's. There's no question about that, right?
You mean no Elton Brand? I'm sorry.
Listen, I love Elton. I loved Elton when he played. Obviously, that was the era that I was really getting into the Sixers.
Elton. But not for the Sixers. He was past his prime for the Sixers.
It was the Achilles, the contract, and all that. When you factor in all that, obviously it's tough. But the theory of Elton Brand was fantastic. And when he was playing for the Bulls and the Clippers, I mean, he was straight
unstoppable. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, over post Achilles, Elton Brand, Chris Webber, over all those guys, obviously you have Charles Barkley is the greatest. But I genuinely believe that, considering who I have at the 5, you can play Joel reasonably at the 4. And not only does he move fantastically on ball, or at least did during his prime years when healthy, but he's able to stretch the floor well enough, as well as Barkley. And he's able to rebound. He's able to further block shots, open up, spread the floor. I'm fully confident in having Joel out there with, of course, my number 5, which you can't have a team without this man. It's got to be Wilt Chamberlain. How do you not have Wilt Chamberlain on it? I
honestly thought you were going to say Moses Malone just to throw us off.
No, I know it had to be Wilt.
Because, listen, you're going to have people who are going to try and besmirch his name and say, March 2nd never happened. But listen, here's the thing. It did. It happened, and then many years later, I was born the same day. So Wilt Chamberlain 100% scored 100 points, and he was one of the greatest players in NBA history. And if it wasn't for the fact that Bill Russell had a literal handful of Hall of Famers on his team, you're looking at a guy who would be one of the most winning players of all time. So Wilt Chamberlain, full believer in, just an unbelievable athlete.
Wow.
A rare guy who you look at in the past and say he could play today. Like, just an unbelievable player. So I got to have Wilt with the 5.
Hey, that's a great starting 5. Didn't expect that. Lucas and I would love to give ours, but we got to get back to the show. We are now going into the NBA draft time machine. So clearly hypothetical, Zach. We got to use our imagination in this. Let's just have some fun. You're going to get 2 stars from different eras, and they're in the same draft class. For fun, if you were guaranteed that both players could have a decade-long career of equally good health, who would you pick first? So are you ready, Zach, to go into the NBA draft time machine?
I'm ready.
And now, get ready for the NBA Now and Then draft time machine.
I go first, Lucas? Yeah,
yes.
I go first.
Yes.
All right, here we go. First comparison, Devin Booker or Gilbert Arenas?
I very much like Devin Booker. In the days that I first initially thought the Sixers should trade Ben Simmons, I wanted them to trade him to Phoenix for Devin Booker, which was very much on the table.
Right.
And I hate to say this, but I absolutely have to go Gilbert Arenas, who listen, man, there's a whole different dog in Gilbert Arenas that's just not in Devin Booker.
Agreed.
100%. And from a talent perspective, Devin is fantastic. You know, he is obviously an incredible shooter, and he's a remarkable facilitator. I think he's better at the point guard than he is the 2, if I'm being flat honest with you.
Okay.
But Gilbert Arenas, he had that it factor more than Devin Booker did.
All right.
Yeah, no, I agree on that one. Next one. This might be a little bit easier, but Jason Williams or LaMelo Ball?
Right. So LaMelo Ball and I have an interesting history where coming into the draft, I very confidently said, give me Devin Vassell over LaMelo Ball.
Wow.
And I still love Devin Vassell, and you will not talk me off of that hill. However, LaMelo, especially this season, is certainly stocking up the crow for me to eat. But I got to give it to Jason Williams. I mean,
really?
Listen,
White chocolate.
I think LaMelo, if he's able to sustain this moving forward, that can change things. But I get that you have health. I get that you have a decade-long career. Those are obviously 2 important factors for LaMelo. But the other thing is, I just need to see him develop winning tendencies. That's the biggest thing. And in Charlotte, you've seen a lot of loser tendencies in Charlotte. Not just LaMelo, but it's a whole type of characteristic that you have to be able to develop that we haven't seen from LaMelo. He hasn't really had the opportunity in his defense. He would need that, and there's no guarantee of that happening. So give me Jason Williams.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. All right, next one, Zach. We have two brawlers. Very good defenders. I mean, all-timers. Who would you go with? Draymond Green or Ron Artest, a.k.a. Meta World Peace?
Man, I love Ron Artest. You know, especially just with my time covering the Kings, and the Kings have long been an organization close to me, just because they kind of feel like that West Coast Philly, right?
Yeah.
I think Ron Artest was such a special player overall, and offensively, or I should say as a scorer, was so far ahead of Draymond Green. But the versatility and facilitation of Draymond is something that we almost have never seen in the NBA. So very rare. I have to go Draymond Green over Ron Artest. I just feel the way that he was able to actually clamp a guy. Ron bullied people. Ron had people afraid. Draymond absolutely just clamped guys up. And the way that he was able to do that was truly special. Now, he immensely benefited from being able to play off of Steph and Clay. And I fully understand that. However, just with the measurables, the attitude, which I think is pretty even between Draymond and Ron, and just the ability to, like I said, just shut those guys down. You give me Draymond Green.
Okay. Fair enough. Next one, battle of larger-than-life point guards, Penny Hardaway and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Man, you talk about a healthy Penny Hardaway.
10 years. 10 years. Guaranteed.
Listen, I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I absolutely love his game. I think he's got a lot more to come. A lot of really exciting play. Give me Penny Hardaway, and it is not close. Not close at all. Just again, part of it is, and we can even revisit Devin Booker and Gilbert Arenas, but the attitude, just the determination, it's completely different when you talk about Penny versus Shea. And Shea's got that first taste of winning, and by that, we're talking about the playoffs, obviously. Maybe he comes back this postseason hungry for more.
Yeah.
But just the dog that you saw in Penny Hardaway, not to mention the talent. I mean, to me, this is a guy who would have been an all-time great had he been healthy. So Penny Hardaway for me.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So far, you're trending towards the old school guys so far, Zach.
I like a lot of the old school guys. Like I said, I watched a lot of Daryl Dawkins growing up. I watched a lot of Moses Malone clips. I'm born in '95. Like, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I wasn't around for any of this stuff. But, I watched as much as growing up a Sixers fan. You're watching ball from '83, like that's what you're watching.
Yeah,
pretty much.
You're not really watching '90s era Sixers. You're watching Iverson, but other than that, you're watching like '80s era Sixers. So you learn a lot about those players.
It's funny, Lucas. You mentioned he's leaning towards older players. Let's see if he leans with this comparison, because there's been a consensus. I want to see if Zach sticks with this. So we did compare two power forwards with the idea of they're pretty much unstoppable on the break, freakish athleticism. Who would you take, Giannis Antetokounmpo or Sean Kemp?
I have to go Giannis, and for me, it's not close, and I love what I saw again. Not firsthand, but I did watch a bunch of clips of Sean Kemp over the years, just because he was an enigma. How could you not? Like, how could you call yourself a fan of the NBA and you're not watching this man move? You're not on YouTube looking up Sean Kemp clips. So I love Sean. It's Giannis. It's absolutely Giannis. And I have my criticisms of him, but just the combination of strength, wingspan, height, ability. Listen, I get it. He doesn't have much of a bag. He doesn't need it. He's that dominant. That's the flat. And when you can transcend the need for a bag in the NBA, that tells you something about how dominant you are.
Oh, yeah.
That you can only say a handful of players. Like, we're talking Shaq levels of dominance.
Well said.
And that's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah. Fair enough. Next one. It's the battle of unconventional point guards. Jamal Murray and Darren Williams.
Yeah. Listen, Darren Williams, for a hot minute, was nice.
Oh, yeah.
And I think people far too often forget about that. There was a time in the league where you looked at Darren Williams and Chris Paul, and it was a legitimate question, right?
Yeah.
Talking about who was the true number. I mean, most people sided with Paul, but it was a question.
Yeah, it was a question.
Now,
I remember that time.
For sure. Now, if you're talking about health for the entire career, for me, I'm going Darren Williams, and the biggest factor in that, listen, Jamal Murray is so well built for this era and his team playing alongside Jokic. Darren Williams did the facilitation himself. He was able to score in bunches, and he was able to find the man. And just the way that he was like, man, I'm just thinking about he had one season where he had like near 13 assists a game. Darren Williams, like, people forget all too often because they think about that time with the Brooklyn Nets. But Darren Williams, he was a problem. He was nice, man. He was a
problem. All right. This is an interesting comparison. We compared Luka Doncic to Larry Bird. Who would you go with?
That's a tough one.
That is very interesting. Luka Doncic is a fantastic player. He is very talented. And I would 100 out of 100 times take Larry Bird. I think Luka's
I love how you keep that up.
You have me going.
You can't knock Luka, and not be a little bit disingenuous. Like, listen, does he have flaws in his game? Sure, every player does. Listen, Larry Bird was that mean man, though. Like, you talk about attitude and the importance of it. Not only was Larry Bird immensely talented, but man, did he have the will and the determination to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm not calling out Luka. I'm not, saying anything about his heart or anything like that. But Larry's a legend.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Next one. This might be a hard one for you to decide on because I know how you like your old school guys. Joel Embiid or Hakeem Olajuwon?
I love Joel. I got love for Joel as a player. I got love for Joel as a person. I know you already feel it coming. I've let my strategy already lead.
Yes.
And I think that if you look at this particular situation, right, that we're talking about in this draft time machine, what this eliminates, if I'm understanding this, what we're doing correctly, right, is that this effectively puts them on level playing ground. Is that correct?
Yes.
Health-wise.
Health-wise, yes.
Yeah.
Now, organization-wise...
Ooh. I get where you're going. Organization stays the same.
Can I? Okay. All right. Yeah. No, gotta go Hakeem. There's no doubt Hakeem. Because, listen, Embiid could not overcome the Colangelos, not through any fault of his own.
Could any player have overcome over the Colangelos, though?
I don't know that Jordan could have done it, man. Like, and it's not just the Colangelos either. Like, the organization has gone through miscue after miscue after miscue, and to put so many ill-filling parts next to Joel and waste so many years of his prime. Listen, if we're keeping organization the same, there's just no way. If you're talking about you're starting, a team fresh and you're taking one of these guys, I honestly would take Joel Embiid. Okay. However, I think you have to look at the context of it, and he was denied the opportunity to succeed so far into his career. Maybe that changes from here. I do have faith in what I've seen so far that it could work out. I at least see the concept of the plan. But, I mean, Hakeem was transcendent.
Two-time champion.
Remember that one weird summer where Brett Brown was the de facto GM and we didn't re-sign Rashawn Holmes? That's that's the type of organizational stuff.
Other things happened that summer too that were not that great with the Sixers.
No,
it was just not a great time.
No, it wasn't a good time. All right, Uriah, you're up next.
All right, let's get off the Sixers and let's get on this bandwagon. Two of the greatest ball handles for days, superstar status. Who would you take over who though? Kyrie Irving or Pistons Isaiah Thomas?
Kyrie Irving is one of the best ball handlers of all time. Isaiah Thomas is one of the grittiest guards of all time. These are two fantastic guards for not completely different reasons, but for pronouncedly different reasons.
Right.
Kyrie, I feel, is one of the ultimate support players in NBA history.
Yes.
Isaiah got it done as the guy. And for me, that's the difference there. So I got to go IT.
I tend to agree on that too. Now we're going with two of the more prolific shooters in NBA history here. Damian Lillard or Reggie Miller?
I mean, you're talking about guys who, in the sense that they're both incredible shot makers, like they share that similarity.
Clutch.
Clutch.
That gene is absolutely incredible. I've been a huge Damian Lillard fan for much of my life. When I was originally coming into the NBA, I gravitated towards some of those West Coast teams. Like I mentioned, the Sacramento Kings earlier. Right. The Portland Trailblazers were actually the first team that drafted me in that NBA 2K game. And so I fell in love with Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge,
Brandon
Nico
Roy.
Batum.
There we go. Let's go.
Roy, one of my all-time favorite players. And
we need to do an episode on him. Just
had that man been healthy, you're putting him up against Kobe Bryant, and I will not be taking questions otherwise. Like,
he was. Him and D Wade would have been fighting for the best shooting guard name if he was healthy. Absolutely,
incredible player. But all that just to say, got a lot of love for Portland. I had a lot of love for Dame, still do. Reggie, man,
I knew that was coming.
Reggie, come on, man, just the way that he performed in the postseason. You gotta go Reggie. I don't think either of these guys, could ever truly be that guy on one of an all-time greatest team. But if we're talking about you can only pick one, and this guy's going to lead your team, I want that guy to be Reggie Miller.
He did it for a very long time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well
Uriah.
Yeah,
it's your turn, man.
Oh yeah. Let's go. Two Celtic greats, one still playing, obviously. But who would you pick over who? In the NBA draft time machine, would you take Jason Tatum or would you take Paul Pierce?
Jason Tatum, next question.
Wow. Wow, not even. Do you hate Paul Pierce?
Hello.
I'm not a Paul Pierce guy. I'll be flat honest with you.
He won't even mention it.
He will butter him up like everybody else. He's buttered up, but he will not butter up Paul Pierce.
Tatum's got his flaws, man, but Paul Pierce, I mean, had.
Is it personal?
Listen, I don't listen. I never met the guy. I can't say it's personal. This is business, right? So
yeah,
Paul
this
Pierce
is
just listen. I respect certain things about him. I think that there is a sense of toughness about him, especially with what he went through early on in his career and the adversity that he faced. At the same time, boy, did he let you know about it. And when he got to his moment, which only came after Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, those few years that Kendrick Perkins was a capable NBA player.
Wow.
And all those other guys, Sheed Wallace, that's when Paul really saw success. And he talked as if he was that guy that whole time. So for me, I'm not with it, man.
You're not a Pierce guy. Okay.
It's not for me. And Tatum, to his credit, it's so funny, this parallel, because you can so easily make that comparison of Tatum and Pierce, where they're these clearly very talented wings on championship Celtic teams. But did they really lead their team to that ring? That's the question.
Both players,
in both cases.
Yeah.
I think Pierce has a stronger case than
he's got
than Tom.
Listen, man, I'm a KG guy. I'll say
that's fair. That's fair. We might be doing a KG comp season 3. Check it out.
Tatum had the complete team, but KG was just so good, so unbelievably good during that run.
Fair enough. Next one, a pair of speedy point guards: De'Aaron Fox or Nick Van Exel.
Man, listen,
he's going Fox.
He's going Fox.
I like my guy Fox. I can't lie. The way, and had you asked me this even just a few years ago, I'm going Nick Van Exel. But the way that Fox has been able to
develop,
yeah, but almost in a sense rejuvenate his career. There was a time where it seemed like, we hit peak Fox, and that's an inefficient 20-plus points and 6 assists.
Yeah.
And, he'll get you some assists, and he's fine, but he's not a winning point guard.
Mm-hmm.
He's put on the weight. He's focused on the shot. He's truly evolved as a point guard. De'Aaron Fox is nasty, man. He doesn't get the respect that he deserves. He's
nobody
nasty.
on Sacramento does.
Right.
Nobody does.
Yeah. Maybe when they go to the conference finals this year, they'll turn some heads, but we'll have to wait.
Sabonis, can we talk about how Sabonis should probably be in the conversation for a top 3 big man in the league?
Listen,
maybe not.
He is absolutely ridiculous. Now this year, I think that's tough. First of all, we got to talk about the definition of a big man and everything like that.
Yeah, okay. We're getting off track. We're getting off track. We can do this afterwards. We can do this afterwards.
Let's get to the 2 big men. One, rest in peace, just passed away. Dikembe Mutombo, Rudy Gobert. Their stats in their career is very similar, but I think I know where you're leaning. You're gonna go who?
Yeah, no, this is Dikembe. Rudy Gobert is an immensely talented player who, partly due to his own doing, gets clowned a good bit.
Yeah.
A lot more than a player of his caliber should. But Dikembe is the guy here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially if we're talking the added benefit of health. A healthy Dikembe Mutombo clears Rudy Gobert.
No, Zach, I will say this. We try not to let our partiality get into our episodes because that's our point. But this one right here was the hardest for me not to let my personal angst get in the way of this. And Uriah had to reel me in a few times. Because I am not a fan of Rudy Gobert.
Out as the devil. Stop. He's that bad.
I gave him some praises.
Right.
He's a very good NBA player. It's just Dikembe Mutombo was better. It's as simple as that for me.
Fair enough. Next one. 2 former Sixers. Scoring guards, James Harden and Allen Iverson.
Ooh.
Listen,
Prime
now
James Harden for 10
you
years.
are pulling at my heartstrings, man. Allen Iverson's such a special player.
He's going James Harden.
I had the opportunity to cover his statue, or I guess I should call it his sculpture unveiling outside of the practice facility, and to be that close interviewing Allen Iverson is a memory that I will never forget. I mean, it's amongst the top. It's right up there with. I interviewed Ray Didinger again, like I said earlier, my inspiration last Saturday, and interviewing there for Allen Iverson. That's hand in hand with that. Love Allen. You have to say it's James Harden. You absolutely have to say it's James Harden, and for reasons such as the body, for instance, just the size. He's just built for it. And I know we're not we're not talking injuries as a factor. I get that, so you don't have to worry about that with Allen Iverson. But just that size advantage works so much to Harden's favor. Right. And he is so much better as a facilitator than Allen Iverson ever was.
That's true.
That is not a knock on Iverson, because Iverson was a quality facilitator. But James Harden was one of the best of all time.
Yeah.
I got to go James Harden.
All right. Now, speaking of size, we have two humongous power forwards. One just retired recently, and one is lighting the league up down in Orlando. But who would you take in the time machine? Paolo Banchero or Blake Griffin?
We're talking Detroit Pistons prime Blake Griffin.
Well, I was going to say, people forget how good Blake Griffin was in his true prime. Immensely talented, more than just a high flyer. I think people remember him, as the guy who tried to dunk over a Kia, and don't really think about, what he was as a facilitator, as a shooter.
Yes.
Just all this stuff that he developed and really showcased early in his Detroit career, which, because it was the Pistons, because it was, during that long drought that is still current, but that long drought for the Pistons, people don't think about it that often. I love Paolo Banchero. I think that he could be a phenomenal player. He already is a great player. And moving forward, he has the potential to be better than Blake. Going off of the information that we have, you have to go Blake Griffin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I agree. Yeah, no. Next one. Two clutch shooting point guards. Jalen Brunson and big shot himself, Chauncey Billups.
I gotta go Chauncey. I think that I actually like Brunson a lot.
I do too.
I am a fan of quite a few Knicks players, which some Sixers fans may not like to hear that, but
they were Villanova guys.
Talent.
Yeah,
and I'm a Duke fan, so I don't even really care about that. First of all, but like,
it's nice talking to you, Zach. Have a good day.
For me, honestly, like the Villanova angle, like I think it's a nice story,
right?
But I just appreciate how a lot of these guys play. Like the way Mikal Bridges played before he got to New York, I obviously appreciated that. Jalen Brunson has increasingly gone too far into grifting territory, and people have and will continue to call me a hypocrite, even though I cover the Philadelphia 76ers. Which I cover the team, it's not me. Me saying that about Brunson doesn't mean I don't think about Embiid. But in any case, I just think that the way that Chauncey played, he obviously was never a superstar, but the way that he elevated that Detroit Pistons team, the way that he played in Denver, I really think, and Chauncey's a guy who I think you can even have that conversation of like Chauncey or Jamal Murray, like is another kind of comp that you could talk about there. I like Chauncey, man. I got to go Chauncey there. And part of the reason for me is just the shot. Just in a big moment, I believe in that shot from range more than I believe in it for Brunson.
Okay. All right, here's our last comparison. But it's actually unique, Zach, because it's actually a compilation of players. We're going to give you two draft classes.
Okay. And
I'll give you some players just to make sure it sinks in. So we compared in an episode the 1984 draft and the 1996 draft. 96, you had Kobe. You had Ben Wallace, who actually went undrafted. You had Allen Iverson. You had Ray Allen, Steve Nash. 84, you had MJ, you had Barkley, you had Stockton, and Hakeem. So out of all those players, which draft would you go with?
The best players are in the 1984 draft class. The best draft class is the 1996 draft
There we go.
class.
That's what I was going to say, too. Because you didn't mention guys like Ilgauskas was in that draft, too.
Marcus Camby, man. I mean, what
Marcus
are we doing?
Camby, yeah. It was a deeper
Eric
draft.
Dampier even is a guy who is like, people like Eric Dampier, like whatever. The dude was a pro in the league for a long time. Like just when you look at how deep this draft class was, and even guys who like maybe their individual talent wasn't great, but they were so key on championship teams. Like Derek Fisher was in this draft. Like there's just so much depth in that draft, and I understand Hakeem, Jordan, Barkley, all time greats. John Stockton too, obviously. I don't want to leave him out, but you look at the greats that you do have in '96: Kobe, Iverson, and I am higher on Ray Allen than I think a lot of people are in the general sense. I don't think
he made a Mount Rushmore for us. Yeah.
I think he's got to be like Mount Rushmore as a shooter. Like
as a shooter,
you have to be. Yeah. But when you talk about his scoring ability, I mean, listen, just believe in Jesus Shuttlesworth. I mean, what are we doing? You got it, man. Like, for me, '96, just the totality of the draft class for me. It was
the first one.
Remember,
the first one. We've done 6 interviews. You're the first one to say that, and you have a really logical reason why. It makes sense.
Shout out to Eric Dampier, one of the few guys strong enough in the NBA to ever guard Shaq and do halfway decent.
Can we talk about? I don't know if we mentioned, but Peja Stojakovic, Steve Nash.
Oh
Jermaine O'Neal.
Yes. We said Steve Nash. We didn't say Peja, but
Stojakovic.
Peja and Jermaine O'Neal, like absolutely.
Oh yeah, Jermaine.
Mentioned in this as well.
That was a great draft.
I mean, and former Sixers commentator Millie Gross. Like, let's give him a little shout out.
Well,
to
be fair, since the '83 draft, they did have Leon Wood in there.
'84 draft. Leon Wood. Draft.
Yeah. NBA referee Leon Wood. Yep.
All right, Zach. A few more questions, and then you're out of here, man. You got a lot on your plate. We don't want to hold you up. But if you could offer us a suggestion, maybe we'll take it and we'll turn it into an episode. Is there 2 players, past and present, that you would want us to compare? Or even within generations. It doesn't matter. Any comparison.
Yeah, and it's obviously we just went through a lot of really interesting comparisons, and I think that the temptation is to think about a lot of the modern day stars, right? So this, I would say,
role player.
You need to go to all-time great. Well, let me change how I'm going to preface this. 2 guys with incredible freak bodies. One guy is not very far into his career, but 2 of the most unique, impressive body types the NBA has ever seen.
I know where he's going with this.
Will Chamberlain and Victor Wembanyama.
We're already planning on doing that one, bud.
Shut up.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Did you really? That's our final episode of season 2.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just
we might have to have you on just because you
athletic
this is meant to be.
It's incredible.
We almost did Ralph Sampson instead of Wilt, but I convinced them to do Wilt.
I think Wilt's the right choice.
Convinced too. Where's
this
coming
from? You
brought
up Ralph Sampson. I said no. We can do Chet Holmgren for Ralph Sampson, not Wemby.
We might have to litigate this later because I don't recall this story. But
I got the well, I don't know if it's still on Slack or not. Yeah. Hopefully it is.
All right, Zach, you got a lot on your plate. You do a lot of things for PSN and Metro. But do you personally have any projects or events coming up that you want to promote right now?
Yeah, what I would say is just keep checking out Philly Sports Network for all of our Sixers content. I'll be working the beat all year. They're out west. I am obviously not out west at the moment, but throughout the year I'll be checking in with the team here and there. I am working on, I can't say exactly with whom it is yet, but I will have. Well, I have a one-on-one with the Sixer dropping soon, and then there will be a second one-on-one interview with an exciting young Sixer is what I will. That's the only way I'll phrase that. That'll be coming up soon, so be sure to read that on Philly Sports Network as well. And then the other thing that I would say is, as I mentioned, I was at the Hall of Fame, the PA Sports Hall of Fame, this past weekend. I wrote up a kind of general article, but I had an opportunity to speak with Jay Wright for an extended period of time. and Ray Didinger for what I would call a long period of time, which for me was incredibly special. So I will have those pieces releasing this week. I would highly recommend both of them. Any Philadelphia area fans and Villanova fans would love the Jay Wright piece. Anyone who is interested in sports journalism would love what Ray Didinger had to say. So just be on the lookout for those as well.
That's fantastic. We'll definitely tweet that out for you. And man, it's been a blast. I don't know about you, Lucas, but man, this was fun.
Absolutely.
Zach, tell everyone where they can find you. Give us your handles.
For sure. So check me on Twitter at CiavoNBA. I believe Instagram is the same, and you'll see some videos from practice, some updated news, things such as that. But mostly on Twitter, and then of course PhillySportsNetwork.com. It's where you can find all of my Sixers content, all the great team at Philly Sports Network, their content. You will be able to also find my content on MetroPhiladelphia.com. And then for those Philadelphia Eagles fans out there, absolutely check out Flipping the Birds, our Eagles podcast over at Philly Sports Network. It'll be Tuesday nights. We do live shows, but we do also record those as well. So if you can't make the live show, which we have a great time, feel free just to check out the pod at your convenience.
Well, there you have it, folks. Podcaster, writer, editor, top of the game, big name coming out of Philly, Zach Ciavolella. Thank you for being with us. And that being
Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, you're welcome. Star on the rise. That being said, this has been fun, a 50, 40, 90 club interview series. I'm Uriah with Lucas. We'll check you guys out next time.